I'd like to call our meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Dare County Board of Elections. Today is Friday, March 15th. I got the day correct this time. And if you would, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, all. The first order of business today is to approve the minutes from our meeting yesterday. Randy sent those out, and I trust everyone had a chance to. Didn't you send those? I did. Yeah, because I read them this morning. Yeah. All right. So everybody's looked at the minutes. Okay. All right. So I'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion, any additions or corrections to the minutes from our meeting yesterday? I have one question in the second to the last paragraph. We cited that the meeting, there was a time of 5:30 that was cited, I think, for the early voting, and I think it's 5 o'clock. Is that not right? Is in the second to the last paragraph.
I thought it was 3:30.
Check that. It's not out of my notes. Stole it from somebody.
Let me see if I can find that.
I don't even have it with me.
I don't have
You do.
I know, I don't have it here.
There was a statement about, so we have,
Yeah.
It says,
I pulled.
Did you see it?
Text from the notice that came from the state.
There it is, right there. Is that correct or not?
ballots presented were approved by unanimous vote. One other supplemental ballot needs ID by 5. I think it is 5 p.m. Yes.
oh,
March 14th will be
that was the
considered.
ID.
Yeah, it wasn't a ballot. That was just because that's right off the,
Does it say 5:30, not 5?
what I just cut and paste on that one right from the state.
Yeah.
From the state website.
I'm sure you sourced it.
Have to be back by canvas.
Well, it was there, say sent out, numbered notice on the upcoming. Oh, I don't know.
That's what I was talking
I
about.
can't remember what I
Right
wrote
there.
there.
It's supposed to be 5
But
o'clock. You can take a look at it if you want. This is the second to the last paragraph.
for the absentee,
So what
for the provisional,
supplemental ballot? Oh, they have to be.
Talking about the
here.
time,
They have
yeah.
to Be here.
Yeah.
That was fine.
Yeah.
I believe it's
By
5.
5.
but I couldn't-
Sorry, everybody. I'd like to welcome everyone who's in the room who joined us for our meeting. Thanks for your interest.
You're talking about the section on the second primary.
Yes,
Okay.
it's the second to the last paragraph.
Second primary election, I pulled that right off the.
You did?
Numbered memo.
Okay.
It's 5 o'clock, the deadline is 5 o'clock because our office hours end at 5 o'clock.
Well, that's
So,
that's why it caught my attention.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock.
I think he's referring, this was the second to the last paragraph.
That's right.
Further down.
That's
I'm
right.
sorry, yes. I pointed to the wrong. Right,
Second
so
to
it's,
this one right here.
5:30 PM.
It was 5 PM, not 5:30.
It's 5 p.m.
Okay, I had 5:30 in my notes, but.
And I can make that change and you can sign the minutes before you leave today.
Okay. Thank you, Jackie.
Yeah.
All right, so-
Thanks for, I'm sorry, I was in a different paragraph.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
I guided him.
Yeah.
Well, that's what a team does.
Right.
All right, so we've got it right. All right, are there any other corrections or additions to the minutes? All right, then, all those in favor of approving the minutes as corrected, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. All right. Under old business, we have ballots that we still need to approve, and one was an absentee ballot. Two were provisional ballots that needed to be cured. Jackie, do you want to kind of explain those again to everybody here?
We had one civilian ballot that the voter failed to include a copy of their photo ID, and we had reached out to him, and I received an email from him yesterday morning, and he said that he totally forgot to make a copy of his ID when he was preparing things, and he was currently in Jordan, and he attached a copy of his passport, so I have that, and the board can look at that ballot container.
It's nice to see this process reach fruition where someone ends up being able to vote. It's a happy ending for us. Thank you, John.
So this ballot container has been properly executed, and the copy of the ID is attached, so the board can make a recommendation for approval, and we can process this ballot in the tabulator and close the absentee supplemental tabulator.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and vote on approving that, right now, and then we'll do the others since they're on different tabulators.
I
So-
move approval.
Okay.
I second it.
All right, it's been moved and second that we approve the absentee ballot container with the addition of the photo. Is there any other discussion or questions? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, then that ballot is approved.
So the public count on our absentee by mail supplemental tabulated the ending count was 22 yesterday. So I will feed this into the tabulator. Public count on the absentee supplemental tabulator is now 23. And I'll go ahead and close this tabulator, and Kelly's gonna go over the two provisionals that we had questioned.
Thank you.
Okay, and continuing the provisional review from yesterday, there were two provisional applications. The reason was ID not provided, no exception form was completed, and part of the completion of the process was for those two voters to return to the BOE, the County Board of Elections, presenting their ID by 5 p.m. the day before canvass. So that was 5 p.m. yesterday. We made attempts multiple times to contact them, even though we're not necessarily required to, by the phone numbers that they provided. We weren't able to make contact, but they were given that proper instruction at the precinct during the time they completed. So we have not had any contact. They did not return with those required identifications. Excuse me. So staff recommendation is to not approve these two provisional applications.
All right, seeing that the board has reviewed those two provisional ballots, the ballot containers, I'd like to make a motion that the board reject those two ballots on the grounds of not providing photo ID. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we reject the two provisional ballots we just reviewed for lacking photo ID. Is there any discussion or any other questions? Okay, seeing that there's none, those in favor of rejection of the two provisional ballots, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, the ballots are rejected.
So with that being said, I will now close the provisional tabulator and run the results tape on that tabulator.
What is the count, Jack?
The public count on the provisional tabulator is 10.
Maybe yesterday.
Hmm?
Maybe yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep, that's happened.
Good news.
So the board members are signing the absentee by mail supplemental tape, and they will sign the provisional tape as well.
How many places? How many places?
I think.
Two, right?
Yeah.
2 places, zero.
Right there too,
Where's the,
right there.
the total?
It's further up.
See that?
Thank you.
Okay.
But it looks like in the system. It's just a provisional report. It shows you that we had those two pending, what wasn't approved and what was. This is our system statistics. So we'll change that before Camus, and you'll see, no pending, and it will go to not in approved and approved. All done?
I guess.
Okay.
I'll let you put it together.
Yeah, we're gonna do canvas next.
Yeah, this is so good.
Yeah, we'll tie everything up.
Yeah.
Is it easier if I fold it or not fold it?
It was easier what you just did.
Okay.
You don't want us unfolding and folding.
Kind of the provisional tape, 0, and then the results. So this is the secret.
The board is now signing the results tapes that came off of the two tabulators, the provisional and the absentee supplemental. So they're signing the 0 tape for both machines and then the ending results for both machines.
Need one signature.
So you'll find the results portion as well.
Oh, there's you.
And then they will also record the supplemental absentee abstract from the tape, from the supplemental absentee tabulator. And they'll be doing that while we go back to tie up this before we can present our Canvas information there. So please be patient with us and we'll get all that taken care of.
Who does the writing? Who does the checking for this? So you'll start here.
Okay. Thanks, Kelly.
So this is the same thing that you did the first absentee.
Yep.
meeting. Yep, so if you'll sign those, Skip, first, and then. you can work on
Thank you.
that. Mhm.
Got it. I think my pen is done.
Do that one.
John, you want to do this with me? So this is going to be the same as what it was before. Maybe I ought to call it because of my hearing. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I'll call it to you.
Got 'em.
We're going to go ahead with this.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go in the back and take care of these and whatever else we need to do and then come back with
Okay.
stuff.
Just so everyone knows, what John and I are about to do is I'm going to take the tape and I'm going to, this is for the absentee ballots, the supplemental absentee ballots. And he is holding the abstract that has the list of all the races. I'm going to call out the number of votes to him and he's going to record them on the abstract. All of our board members will sign off on this as we go, so. You ready?
Mhm.
Okay. Biden, 13, no preference, 1. Is there a total? Okay, there's no total. Fox, so I can do each one.
Fox?
Is it the Fox on there? This is for governor.
Okay.
Governor, Democrat.
Now they go by the office of
There it is.
governor.
Okay. Okay. Fox, 0. Morgan, 1. Stein, 12. Oh, yeah. William, 0. Willard, 1. Pettis, 0. Eccles, North Carolina, Lieutenant Governor. Robinson, 1. Clark, 4. Attorney General, 1. Democrat. Barry, 5. Gordon. Marcus, 12. Burton, 1. Public instruction, Democrat. Forbes. 4. Green. 6. Is that what I said? Ian. Here.
Yeah.
Rubble, 3. North Carolina Treasurer, Democrat. Esparza, 7. Harris, 6. Superior Court of Associate Justice. Superior Court, well, Supreme Court, I guess. Supreme Court, Associate Justice. 6, Democrat. Yeah. Riggs, 12. Cubbage, 2. Yes, Riggs, 12, Cubbage, 2. Libertarian, residential preference, Libertarian. Dunlop, 0. Warburger, 0. 0. Or 8 stands, sorry. Oliver, 0. Becton Wall, 0. Smith, 0. Hack, 0. Anderson, 0. Alay, 0. Next, North Carolina Governor, Libertarian.
There's no preference.
That's come up after this. You want to do preference? Oh, no preference for
Presidential.
presidential. Presidential preference, Libertarian. That's what you just did. And no, I have, no no preference, 0, I'm sorry. Good catch. Okay, North Carolina Governor, Libertarian. Okay, Boss, 0. Gray, 0. Republican presidential preference. Right. Haley, 3. Hutchinson, 0. Ramaswamy, 0. Trump, 6. Bingley, 0. Christie, 0. No preference, 0. North Carolina Governor, Republican. Falwell, 1. Graham, 0. Robinson, 7. North Carolina Lieutenant Governor, Republican. Newton, 0. Elmore, 0. Lavola, 0. Ashburn, 0. 1. Page, 1. Letterman, 1. Woodall, 2. Ballard, 1. Boynton, 0. That's it. North Carolina Auditor, Republican. 1. 0. 0. Hart, 0. Holiak, 1. Clark, 3. North Carolina Agriculture, Republican. Emmons, 2. Foxler, 4. That's all. North Carolina Commissioner of Insurance, Republican. Marcus, 2. Raleigh, 1. Cossey, 3. That's all. North Carolina Commissioner of Labor, Republican. Farley, 4. Armister, 2. 0. Wilson, 1. North Carolina Secretary of State, Republican. Thomas, 0. Velarde, 4. 2. North Carolina Superintendent of Public Instruction, Republican. Morrow, 2. Truitt, 4. North Carolina Treasurer, Republican. Ayud, 1. Johnson, 2. Reiner, 3. Court of Appeals Judge, that's 15, Republican. Freeman, 2. Murphy, 4. Next. Board Commissioner, yeah, okay. D1, Republican. Overman, 5. Oh, we're here. Okay, we're at this level. Creef, 2. Board of Commissioners, Republican, D2. Hayman, 1. We're 6. Commissioner, 1. Passline, 3. Burris, 3. Wait. Sorry.
There's a signature.
Yeah, we have a witness on it. I've got a pen to work.
Can I see that before you put it away? Yes. Does this mean they changed the rules?
I don't know. Probably. They're not using C, whatever C is.
B or C?
Well, there's B here.
See, this B, this is B or C.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I don't know. We can ask Jackie when she comes back if you want. I don't know personally what that is.
I don't know what the rule is. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if,
Yeah.
what are we signing, that's all.
Yeah. I'll ask her about that when she comes back.
I just noticed when something's crossed out.
Yeah. That's good catch.
It's not initialed.
Yeah.
know if it's a second primary, do we?
Want to make sure.
We're going to call a 20-minute recess. Our staff is at work doing things relative to what we just did that has to get into the state immediately. So you can get up and move around the cabin if you want and take a break. Thank you. We'll be back at 12:15. Okay, we're back from recess. This is the Dare County Board of Elections, and we'll continue with our meeting. Our next item of business is canvass the certification of the primary voting that just took place. Jackie, you would,
Okay, so what Kelly and I did, we went back and we took care and finished up the provisional ballots and got them all entered in. And we have a report here that we had 26 provisionals that were denied and 10 approved. So it shows us a grand total of 36. Okay. We also have the tapes from the sites, if the board would like to see the tapes from the precincts and the early voting sites. We have them if you would like to review them. Do you want to review those tapes?
have we already signed those?
You don't sign these tapes. These
Okay.
tapes were run at the early voting sites and the precincts on election night. So
Sure.
the early voting tapes are the ones that we ran here on election night, and then the precincts ran theirs on the election day. So if the board would like to preview these, you may.
Y'all want to take a look at those real quick? Okay.
You want the early voting ones too? And the absentee by mail that you've already looked at?
Yeah. Thank you.
So that's absentee by mail. This should be the 3 early voting sites together. And then those would be the election day precincts, okay?
This doesn't require a signature.
No, just something for you guys to look at.
Okay.
And then we also have reports that we just ran. We have a canvas report with all the reporting groups showing all the totals by precinct and reporting groups. When I say reporting groups, I mean the absentee by mail, the provisionals, and the absentee supplemental, as well as the KDH early voting site, BOE early voting site, and the Pheasant Annex early voting site in the 16 precincts. This report shows those totals as well. We had a total ballots cast of 8,192 out of 33,310 for 24.59% voter turnout. And then we have a canvas report after we've entered all of our results into the state website and uploaded all that to the state and published those results public on the state website.
So
We
there's
printed
no
our
total
canvas reports
because
by
it's broken down.
contest and canvas reports by precinct
What is
that we're
that?
required to
That's
print
the
and
total, that's not
For the
send
column.
to
for the column.
So you don't have,
state
you don't have
and
a
So
total
what
this way.
so how you
office
read this
once
is
everything
like,
has
for
been
instance, you
signed.
take ABS
The board will
mail,
sign an abstract of votes, and that will be attached to the
so
report.
Joe Biden
That will be
28,
one
so
for
then
our
Joe
office, and
here,
then
you
we
would
will
look
also
about
have it at
contest,
the
and this is
clerk
kind
of
things
court's
that we
office.
do to double check on election night. That's why, so, you know, it takes time. So you have 28, so then you know that your system report matches your tapes.
Mhm.
Because this is the totals that are going into the system.
Mhm.
And so we, you know, check across each tape, and it's pages of it, but you could spot check if you were interested. And this is what we call a canvas block style. This is one of the reports that the state requires that we submit.
Voter registration total of 33,310 in Dare County. That's what we have, that's what our voter registration total is. And we only had 8,192 ballots cast out of that 33,310. I know. You need to see that.
I think all of them do.
This is just chill, skin, but this is it.
Who signs these? The judge and judge?
Just the chief judge and the two judges. They've signed.
All three?
Mhm.
Because that's what I want to make sure. who-
Yeah, it's on approximately the last page.
Yeah, it is. I was
Yeah.
see all
Yes,
three.
the chief judge and two judges.
John, that just shows you the provisionals after we approve, disapprove those two. So those two fell into that.
You have these back, just do whatever. I'll be there.
Down. Ken gave
Ken
it
gave
to
it to me.
Ken, if you want, we'll unroll them all.
Can't trust an account.
We sign those things.
We don't need to sign these.
Which is 24%.
What time?
24% of the voters.
24 plus. Is what the percentage
That is on the
of voting
website.
was.
That's
That's a lot better than last time. Last time-
It's on the state website.
Well, it also
On the state
includes
website,
federal
yes.
and everything else.
That's considered unofficial until we vote on it.
It's unofficial until the state
State.
canvasses.
Who is that?
I don't know.
Us.
You got met the enemy.
It's us. It's us.
This report is the canvas report, and it's by, election results by contest, and this big one, 57 pages, the election results by precinct.
I couldn't look at that.
You don't.
You've
So
seen
how
all
we
these.
do
huh?
it is we have to take the tape. It's really tedious. So for instance, absentee by mail, and you look at individual votes. So,
All of it, one at a time.
yeah, so, exactly. So like for the contest of the Democrat president, 28. So absentee by mail, 28. The no preference got three, under, over, 0, 0.
This is not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and this is what we have. So that's how we reconcile is we go line by line, tape by tape, contest by contest.
So,
Not
what's
fun.
really about 24%.
24.59%, I believe.
How many votes was that? Since you got everything else.
It's,
Yeah.
it's on there.
5,000, yep, I'm sorry, I apologize,
okay.
Megan.
Yeah.
8,192 ballots cast, 24.59%. And those, so there were additional ballots cast, like in those provisionals, but they weren't approved, so we don't count those. Those are the approved, counted ballots cast.
After the meeting. I was trying to get everybody back in
Now,
here.
we gotta sign this.
You don't have to, no, there's things for you to sign, but these aren't it. They were just informational.
We have several items.
Sure. Yeah, I already told everybody.
Okay,
I told them to stay. Not leave.
yeah, we've got several, and some of it's in triplicate.
We'll get it.
Is this kind of block style report?
No,
That's just- The other reports, and then that
there's
form.
not cheat sheet.
So I think if we
Well,
do
that's
it,
probably a typo. Probably supposed to be time travel. That's really unusual. That's kind of funny.
That's the way I've seen the name.
Probably one, yeah,
I mean, I don't know if it's a typo.
the R was put in there by mistake.
I doubt it.
no, I don't think
It's
it's
no
a typo.
typo.
They usually are pretty good.
They're usually pretty accurate. They don't make, they make sure they get that right.
That guy's name is Tron
Apparently.
Traveler.
Oh, that's a legal name or? Well,
Makes me want to meet his parents.
It could be a nickname.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
because
It's a
there are
good one.
Nicknames that are approved for the ballot.
It's a good one. That's what they
You
talked
can
about.
use a nickname, yeah.
David. Trying.
I can give you copies after the meeting.
Tabler.
No one is military.
Was this all, that's from the state website.
That's really good.
I'm not sure, probably. That's fine. Yeah, we can make copies, because after the meeting, we can get you copies or whatever.
So this is just step signature only.
Exactly.
This
No,
does.
but we do have some things
So
that
you're
we're.
gonna sign the last page of this report, all three of them.
So don't run out.
And you can leave on the last page and then pass it down.
And what that is the executed absentee ballots, which we had a poll book. You've already signed the
You'll
poll
sign
book.
both of those
But-
pages
They need this.
anywhere at the bottom.
Anywhere.
Also, when you're ready.
But you got a second page to sign. You can do that one. Do the second page, yes, sir.
I got a second page to
Yes,
sign.
sir.
Look at it too, but that's.
Because it's military and overseas, and they're two separate reports.
Okay, now,
That one
another page of this one.
and that one.
Got my name.
It's like buying a house.
Yes, exactly.
And I'll take them as you sign them, Skip.
That don't work. Give me that one. Try that.
Take them as you sign them. That way I can put them together.
Try that.
That was my pen you put in that drawer.
You want it?
Yes. There's really not, it's pretty played.
I gave you a new one, that's all. I improved the pen.
Okay, both of those are fine.
Thank you. So if you will sign this one, and these reports are exactly the same. John, sign that one.
Okay.
How many times you get that one?
I'll do it.
Yeah, that's just that page.
What is it?
Same report.
Thank you.
Is complete.
Just that page.
I don't think I see it the same.
Does anyone have any questions about anything?
Yeah, what are we doing here?
You're certified.
Have you heard any more about the second write-in?
Oh, we haven't one.
The audit. The audit filing.
Oh, well, no, I haven't heard any more about that.
Where he signed
Other
this one.
than-
I think
No,
that's
nothing more
everybody
than the
there.
lieutenant governor.
So they haven't filed.
I don't know.
I need that.
They have, if they have, they haven't told us.
I heard I was at a meeting
So
last night.
once John speaks,
I didn't, but I did not question.
And there's more.
Yeah, I don't
It's just
know
the
that.
percent.
Well, the lieutenant governor.
So
I've
there's
looked at
another
these
set of
numbers
these with
already,
the
but in a
supplemental
different direction.
reports. Am I looking at the side?
But I heard last.
Oh, yeah, that was
Just in a
the
meeting.
other report.
That was, we had it in a different
Yeah.
manner a minute ago.
But I do not, Jackie. It's not even officially.
So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, abstract.
And we only got word of that in a state huddle Wednesday, and they said that the lieutenant governor had already filed, but the auditor had not on Wednesday, so I haven't heard anything since then.
Isn't there a deadline? I mean, what?
It was a deadline, I think it was yesterday at
At noon.
noon, yeah.
That's why I thought there might have been an announcement, because I thought they had to stop yesterday.
If they have, we haven't.
Haven't heard anything. And I'm not gonna get into the weeds at a meeting and say, are you
That
sure?
Holland, that
You know, I'll just wait here for Jack.
Oh,
is passport, and then these are the completion rights.
So it's not, get it up to date now.
Yes, all of this and that one. There.
I can't. Sign each page separately.
Yes, please.
It's just like it's so inane. Yeah. Exactly. I know.
All 4 pages? John has papers for you to sign, Randy.
I'm gonna go fix this.
Yes. I'll get it to her. Yeah, whoever you want to see. A minute and one more. Gosh. Let's see. This one has to be. that's done a triplicate as well. It's really part of the Kansas TV, so it's part of the Kansas. Jackie will have something for you. Did you sign the minutes? Supplemental.
Oh, that was done.
Does somebody need to sign these?
Randy.
Can you correct this one?
Yeah, look, it's on the last page.
Total reports, for just the particular meeting, is what these were. They're signed, they're signed, they're signed. Do we do it?
We
Does
can't.
he, does he need to?
He needs to.
Okay.
Let me see it again.
We did ourselves.
Yeah, he needs to get that. Yeah, he needs to date
And
that.
then the notary dates here.
Yes,
Once it's start for me.
yes, yes.
Put your canvas block style. This is all your reports. That's trash, right? That isn't. Okay.
This was a cheat sheet.
Tapes.
Oh, that's something I found this morning.
Okay. Do you got a folder for minutes? Okay. These are your reports. These are the signed documents. We gotta notarize these. They signed that.
All right, the next item on our agenda is approving our early voting plan. And,
You got to approve you got.
oh yeah, we need to go ahead and approve
canvas.
everything in the finality of that, right, for the
Yeah,
canvas?
approve
Okay,
the canvas.
yeah, you're right. Okay, all right, so is there a motion to approve the canvas of our primary election?
I move approval of the canvas.
I
Okay.
second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the canvas of our primary election. Is there any other questions or discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, thank you, Jackie. Okay. So I introduced the topic yesterday, setting the plan for our second primary election, something that we have to get to the state by Monday. What this mostly means is deciding on the sites. That'll be our first step, and the times that we'll be voting on our second primary on May 14th. So we have a lot of stuff coming at us very quickly, and our staff is pretty taxed right now with trying to get it all together. So yesterday I introduced a proposal to the board, something to think about, and wanted to give everybody a chance to think about that and any other ideas they might have. There are complications added to the fact that this is an election that will cover only one or two candidates on the ballot. And officially right now, it is the lieutenant governor race for the Republican Party. And if the other person is going to request a second primary, that would be the Republican candidate for auditor. Okay, so there would be two races that we would revisit on May 14th. And this also would exclude anyone who pulled a Democratic ballot in this last primary. They would not be able to vote in this. Any unaffiliated voter who pulled a Democratic ballot would not be able to vote in this second primary. This would be only those who had chosen a Republican ballot in the first primary or an unaffiliated voter who pulled a Republican ballot in the second primary. There will be no same-day registration unless someone has just become eligible to register between the times of the two primaries. And I think there was one other caveat to that, which I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure that was in the memo that we just received, that information. So there are, I think, I don't know if it's a change of address thing involved or not, but I'm sure that's accessible on the State Board of Elections website where you can find out the specifics of that. But that's everything that I can remember from it. So the proposal yesterday was that seeing that the turnout wouldn't be overwhelming. I think any reasonable person would make that assumption. Looking at the numbers of the first primary, we still want to serve our Dare County voters the best way possible. We also want to be responsible about our budgetary concerns. And so what I had proposed yesterday is that we open only 2 early voting sites, one being the Board of Elections site right here, and then the other one being the Cape Hatteras Fessenden Center Annex in Buxton. And everybody else would still be able to vote by absentee ballot. They'd also still be able to early vote over here or in Hatteras. Hatteras, the reason we would want to open that office, that site is obvious to anyone who's lived in Dare County. There are a lot of impediments for the folks down there to be able to come up to the North Beaches or come up to Roanoke Island to be able to vote, weather being the major issue affecting Route 12. From a historical perspective, having an office or a site open over here for our voters is somewhat grounded in the fact that this is where most of our governmental affairs have taken place over many, many years. It's a little bit of a stretch, but there is an orientation to the longtime residences, folks who've lived in Dare County for many years. So this is what the proposal was that I put on the table yesterday. And, I'm open to discussion or any ideas that anyone from the board might have as far as that goes. So, gentlemen, anyone like to start or?
I think the proposal that you've outlined makes sense. I mean, we had a discussion about alternate sites for up here. I think what you suggested is fine, and if you require a motion, I'd certainly make it, but wait for comment from others.
John?
My only concern has to do with respect to communicating the diminishment of the number of sites. In other words, that the KDH early voting site would not be utilized. I am in agreement with respect to the considerations that you've expressed. I think there's the expense one, and then the utilization of staff time, which is not abundant. So we would be good stewards to not utilize that KDH site. But I do have my concerns with respect to getting the word out that that site will not be utilized for early voting.
Jackie, would you like to speak to that, the aspect of getting the word out?
The early voting sites are always posted on our website. We can certainly put it in it's actually included in the election notice that is published in the paper, and our public relations office does PR on early voting, letting people know when it starts, and then they continue throughout the whole process of putting the early voting information on their the Dare County social media sites. They also included in the Dare County newsletter, which residents subscribe to. So our public information office does do a lot of advertising for us when we're in the election cycle.
This is a a fairly rare situation to have a second primary, isn't it?
It is, it's rare, but we've had it in the past. And for the most part, the turnout is very, very low, very low.
My feeling is that maybe the PR department, Dare County, could up their game a little bit, considering that it is so rare.
They do a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
they really do a lot with the social media and the tickers and everything. I mean, they do an amazing job of putting out the information for the voters during an election. I mean,
I would ask that they emphasize or highlight that the KDH site will not be utilized for early voting. I think oftentimes people glance at something and see the headline and that's it, you know? And so I do think it is very important that people that are used to using that KDH site for early voting are notified.
and we do have a media list that press releases are sent to. So it could be definitely sent to the media list as well.
Okay. Ken, do you have anything?
Jackie, are we still running problems with people if we own one more site? I mean, all of a sudden, we're gonna have now a problem with personnel because the second,
Probably not, because for this second primary, the staffing is going to be a lot less than what it was for the first primary, because we only have the one ballot, and the turnout is usually substantially
we had one of these a couple of years ago. I remember, we had like 9 people show up. Yeah, I know, I understand the turnout's small.
We did, however, have issues staffing the Buxton site for this primary, but we made it work. But
Buxton is not an issue. We
and
have to open that.
Buxton's not an issue, so, I mean, we have to open it regardless.
Yeah. I don't think it would be that difficult. KDH sometimes is an easier precinct to staff than the other two. We're very fortunate to have a really good staff at Kill Devil Hills, and they're a smaller group willing to work more hours and more days. So we have regulars. Our issues are actually, to be honest, Manio and Buxton, because we have a hard time finding people who will work consistently. So they may take 2 days in 1 week. So when you're talking about 2 shifts for 13 days, you end up with 60, 70 people instead of 25. So if we're being honest, KDH is our least troubling, site when it comes to staffing, because we do have a group that's willing to put in the work, put in the hours, and they'll work the whole time, every day.
At the last meeting, you'd expressed that there was, there was a lot that went on behind the scenes in order to resource an additional early voting site, that there were only 2 people here in
Correct.
Manio that did that work. So that was my consideration in
and-
terms of manpower resource.
Correct, right. So, so finding the workers for KDH isn't as much of the, but when you talk about scheduling, packing supplies, doing the laptops, that's where the stuff comes in that the poll workers aren't involved in. It's Jackie and I. But at the same time, I don't want to be the one to influence why we don't open up a site for the North Beaches. If it's important that Duck and Southern Shores can get to vote in a closer proximity to their home, then I don't want to be the one to influence them coming to Manio, having to come to Manio and potentially not voting because of that. So it's a lot. That's falls on you.
Yeah, this is something that, we don't take this lightly
Right.
in any way. It's just trying to kind of surveying the overall situation. There are a lot of cost factors here. Not that we would make a decision totally on on cost, but it does affect decision-making and good stewardship, as John said yesterday, of our resources. And mostly our human resources are our most valuable. And we have a lot of requirements for anyone listening who doesn't know. We have requirements that we have to have a chief judge and 2 judges at each voting site, and they also have to be trained as such. It's not something that we typically can throw bodies at
Don't we,
and call it a day.
isn't Kill Devil Hills our largest precinct?
Yes.
So Kill Devil Hills, which includes Collington, Kitty Hawk,
Early voting, not.
I'm talking, all right, Kill Devil Hills, Kitty Hawk, Duck, and Southern Shores.
And Collington would
And Collington.
potentially vote early voting there, yes.
Well, yes, as opposed to East Lake and
Stumpy Point,
Stumpy
Mans Harbor.
Point coming here. So, look, it seems that maybe, can we do Kill Devil Hills and Buxton and just,
I don't think that we can eliminate an admin site. We may be able to do KDHs in lieu of. I don't. But I don't think so.
it just seems
Yeah,
that.
I don't think
the-
so either, because
It seems that we have a heavier population going north than we do going west here.
Here's the issue with that, though, and this is just my personal opinion. We've never asked Manio, Mans Harbor, East Lake, Stumpy Point to ever travel to the North Beaches for any kind of government business. Typically, they've come to the island, but I don't know. Are we asking to do something just outside of the scope of what's ever been done before historically? I think the decision would probably need to be all 3 or eliminate KDH. And if we're struggling with that, that's probably your answer. But to get rid of the
But
office site,
But KDH is a bigger
correct.
It is.
voting
Yeah.
base from KBH North,
It's the largest
KDH.
Agreed.
voting district in the
So,
county.
So that's
you know,
probably
far.
your answer.
The answer is we
Yeah.
should have KDH open only because of the amount of people.
Correct. And I don't think eliminating Manio is a good idea. I don't know what Jackie's take on that is.
because Nags Head comes to Manio, and I mean, East Lake, Stumpy, and Mans Harbor, they don't really typically historically vote during early voting, but the
That's
other
right.
ones do.
Yes.
You're also talking about Wanchese.
Cheese also.
You know, these populations are growing. And so asking them to move north, I think is requiring something to voters that we've never done before.
Yeah, but we're asking 75% of the voters to move south.
I
As opposed
agree.
to 25%
Yeah.
of voters moving north. So what we're doing is we're losing the bigger numbers to save the little numbers. It doesn't
Right.
make good sense.
So I think maybe we're looking at,
We have it
keeping
open.
all
We need all 3
Keeping
open.
keeping it as
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, we should keep all 3 open, only based on the population.
and geographically, we're just so spread out. And we have issues that we run into all the time because of how spread out we are. And it's just something unique. But I think if we're really erring on the side of the voter, we might do better to open all 3. That's just my opinion.
I think where, what my thinking was sheer workload coming up right after another primary. And, I don't want to quibble about this. I'm going to put it out there on the table that, my opinion is our staff needs permanent part-time help, someone who is committed to learning the ropes so that they have value in the heat of the moment rather than have to be trained in a panic and have it drag down our staff's efficiency. And so my thinking is, instead of them being here 7 days a week, 12 hours a day on the run up to an election, which is not good for our elections, by the way, in terms of producing an accurate election and election process, that's concerning to me. And so if anybody wants to know what's propelling my proposal, I was thoroughly coming from that point of view. We've seen the floater ID or the floater idea going from department to department, work in some cases, but we can do better. And I think the population of the county is pushing strains on our departments, probably not just this department. I mean, this is something I saw on the Board of Education, the same thing. We've had a pretty heavy influx of folks move here, from other areas. And, I've seen that collision take place with the Board of Education and in other areas in Dare County. And so we're in a long period of slow transition, and we're finally feeling those effects with
Can
this board.
we decide on what we're gonna do? We know the county's growing. We know we need help.
Yeah,
We need a budget for the state, and the state, we work for the state, the county pays our bills, so we have a whole different financial problem there. Let's vote on the 3 sites or not. I make a motion that all 3 locations for the next primary are used. Manio, Buxton, and Kill Devil Hills.
I'll second that motion.
all right. Is there any other discussion? I think we need to decide on the hours as well, don't we?
Well, the hours aren't anything that you can
Yeah, we're stuck.
manipulate. The hours are 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. by statute. So there's
Okay, so
no,
we're good
there's
on
no
that.
wiggle room in that.
Unless
Okay.
you wanted to add, and I can't imagine you would.
No,
No, we're good. For this, I feel like this is fine.
And that would be Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And then the last Saturday
Saturday.
prior to Election Day will be 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.
You have something you want to say?
Do we know what the expense of running that KDH site would be?
What it would be,
If we utilize it for this second primary, what is the approximate cost?
Well,
that.
if you want to calculate, you've got 12 days with 2 shifts and 3 people a shift. So you could say at $12 an hour, but one of those people would probably make 15.
be 6 people.
6 people a day, 5 of them at $12 an hour, 1 at 15. And that's not counting for overtime, so that's just payroll. And really, that's the biggest expense because our transportation is paid for by the county through buildings and grounds. So then it's man hours, like my overtime comp.
Cost
That's
of
really the
ballots.
cost, because the ballots, all of that stuff is ordered, whether it goes there or here. So really, it's payroll. And is really your financial cost. That's not man hours, whatever cost. But I mean, as far as that goes, I would rather us do it than not do it if it affects the voters. I mean, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, and if we're going to do 2 precincts, it's not that much difference to do the third one as far as preparing the sites for the early voting. I
Mhm.
mean, if we're going to do 2, it's not that much more to do
It's
the
a
third
little
one.
more.
It is a
But
little more, but
it's something that I think if we're asking for the voters to sacrifice or us, I say us because
Yeah.
that's what we do. That's why we're here.
yeah, that's my problem.
Yeah.
The cost of Kill Devil Hills, we're not in the cost business. We're in the business of getting people to vote.
Correct.
And the only way you're gonna get those people from Kitty Hawk, Southern Shores, Duck, to vote is to use KDH. So the cost, I'm sure it's high. I argue the cost every year. We beg the county and they usually come up with it. So why don't we just vote on it? Either we open it or not, The cost is irrelevant at this point.
that's right.
All right, so the motion on the floor is for all 3 sites. John, did you have something else? Excuse me, I didn't.
I'll just say that, it's, we have day of voting. We have all precincts that will be open, right?
Yeah.
And so what we're speaking to for a matter of convenience is the early voting period. But, I don't think there's a prohibition to anybody being able to cast a vote or a significant impediment for anyone to cast a vote here. But that's my opinion.
'Cause I get what you're saying, because you're saying that even if the early voting is not available there, they still have election day to vote
Yeah.
on election day.
Yeah.
And absentee by mail.
But at the same time, we're talking about offering it to a portion of the Outer Banks or Dare County and not others. So then we're looking at,
Irrespective, you have multiple precincts that have to go to a consolidated precinct irrespective, or a consolidated early voting site, I should say. So no matter what, there's a personal cost to cast an early vote. If that's what you desire, it just depends on whether you're prepared to expend that resource.
it's true.
And we'll face the same decision on all the precincts on election day, on having all the precincts open, for the same amount of turnout and everything. And it's a tough thing, because we try to be, good stewards of our resources, but I think our human resources are our greatest. But anyway, does anyone have anything else? All right, is there a motion to open all three of our early voting sites as we have in the past? Motion. And is there a second? Okay, all right. So is there any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay?
Nay.
Okay. The motion passes. All right.
So it has to be unanimous, otherwise it has to go to the state, and the state will decide what our early voting will be.
Okay. When will you get an answer, do you
I
think?
do not know. I will
Okay.
have to submit my information
Okay,
to the state, and then they will decide what our sites and our hours will be.
hopefully they'll choose among the three that we've presented.
I don't know,
Okay.
but
Well, do you want to,
I mean,
may I reconsider that? That information I was not privy to. I take it the memo that was sent?
About the unanimous plan.
by the unanimous plan, yeah,
I think
it's always been, the early voting plan has to be unanimous. Otherwise, non-unanimous plans are submitted to the state, and then they have to have a meeting to decide on the early voting.
And if you vote against it, you have to go to Raleigh to defend it in front of this group.
Right.
Because I already did that. And we went up there and
Several.
I went up there with James. And then they came back and made us open more locations.
Okay.
They said what we want was too short. They wanted more. So they went the opposite way. So just get ready to go. There's some good Dunkin' Donuts nearby though.
Okay.
there's a time element here too, in this, that's unusual.
So may we
Would you like to make a motion?
reconsider?
Make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to reconsider the voting locations for early voting,
And that they be,
and that we utilize KDH, Manteo, and the Fessenden Center in Buxton,
the annex.
the annex.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll second that motion.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that our early voting sites for our second primary, May 14th, be the BOE site here in Manio, the KDH Town Hall site, and the Fessenden Center Annex in Buxton. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. All right, we have a unanimous decision. All right. Jackie, I don't have anything else.
No, we do have something
or
else.
Myself. What do you have?
You need to talk about scheduling the meeting for the appointment of the precinct officials for early voting. We need to schedule a meeting because we have to notify the parties that they can submit a list of names to us for those precinct officials to vote early. And I would need to have that notification sent to them by the 18th or 19th to meet the 21-day deadline that we have to have. They have to have 21 days prior to your meeting to submit those names to us like we did before.
Don't we have a meeting next Tuesday?
The 9th, yes.
Can we use that meeting for this?
Not next Tuesday, I apologize. What's,
No,
It is next Tuesday.
It's the 19th.
The 19th.
Yeah,
that's not enough time.
That's not enough time
Not
because I
enough
have to
time.
notify them
21 days.
21 days.
okay.
So what we were recommending is recommending that the board set that early voting official appointment meeting
How about now?
on April the 9th at
3 PM?
3 p.m. Because that's also the first absentee board meeting
Right.
for the primary.
So if you could do the first absentee meeting and then incorporate this in your business, then you're covering two birds with one
The
stone.
21 days
And
in.
that allows us to comply with the 21-day notification to the parties.
Yeah,
don't we have a meeting next Tuesday?
yeah.
It's not enough time.
It's not enough time.
Did-
I
do you have a
need to
20 do you have a
notify
20
them on Monday.
So,
March
This is
9th.
March.
But you have
Yes.
to have 21-day notification. You
I have to
that time.
notify them on Monday to give them 21 days
Monday or Tuesday.
prior to your meeting date.
Yeah, we can
all right,
do this
is there,
now. We can
is
do
there
this
any
now.
reason we cannot do it
No big deal.
in this meeting now that we're still in session?
No.
No, you have to schedule the meeting date. Is all we want to do right now is schedule a date for the meeting.
You can do the meeting where we actually approve the people on the 9th. You're just scheduling the date so that Jackie can notify the parties.
Now, it's
Of
only,
that meeting.
it's only one party here, correct?
Correct.
Just the Republican Party you're going to notify? Because the Democrat,
No,
D-
not for early voting officials. They have to be bipartisan. I will notify the Republican Party and the Democrat
Okay.
Party
all
to
right.
submit a list of names of early voting officials.
The slate, remember we did the big slate appointment last time? That's what this meeting will be, but it has to be 21 days or more in the future because she needs time to notify.
Can we use the people we have?
No, sir. The new
It's a
law.
new
The
election.
new law required us, remember, we did it, we've already done it once because of the new law. So from now on, you will be doing this prior to every
Every
election
election for
unless
early
they
voting.
change the laws.
Again.
So we are recommending that you set your meeting date for Tuesday, April the 9th at 3
To make
o'clock.
appointments. That would be the motion.
To make appointments.
But we have to,
So if we do-
today,
Today, do it. So that they can get notified.
You're just
have
setting
enough
a
time to
meeting date
notify.
today
All right, so if we do that, that gives you sufficient today.
to give notification by
You-
Monday to the
You
parties.
then are able to, all right, so what motion is it do you exactly need?
Motion to set
The
April the 9th at
Is the-
3 o'clock for your
early voting appointments.
early voting appointment.
Official appointments.
Right.
Because it's also an absentee.
Absentee.
meeting.
So you're
ballot
also
meeting.
going to need to set your absentee meeting dates too,
Yeah.
to coincide with this meeting date because you have to do that for every election as well. If you want to have your
They can do
absentee
that
meetings,
On the 19th if they want, next.
yeah, you can do that next
They
Tuesday.
can
Yeah,
set their
we're having
meeting.
You can
meetings
set your
without
meeting,
meetings.
absentee meeting date. I mean, meeting times. Yeah.
So let's have a motion on the April 9th, 3 PM as the date that we,
no, we have to take the meeting. We
That
have to
we-
first do the other meeting. We have to first give them the permission for the 21 days.
No, all you're doing
No.
is setting.
All you're doing
the
is set the meeting date.
date.
yeah, that's a
Set the meeting
law.
date.
Oh, today we're
Okay.
setting, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, I'm going to make a motion that we set April 9th at our 3 PM absentee board meeting as a meeting where we will make our early voting appointments, thereby satisfying the 21-day notification requirement for both parties. Is there a second?
Second,
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion?
I would like to suggest an amendment to that motion because you said absentee meeting, and you haven't actually set a date, a time for your absentee meeting.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So you would need to strike that.
Okay,
absentee
all right.
part.
So to amend that, we'll strike the absentee language from that, and we'll set the absentee meetings in, after this in another vote. on Tuesday. We can set that. Okay, so my motion as amended is to set the date for our early voting appointments as April 9th at 3 PM. Okay, and is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Ken. All right, is there any other discussion or any other questions? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, that's the date for our early voting appointments. Thank you for your guidance through this complicated process. We appreciate it so much. All right, I know you do, and you get it done.
Can I go ahead?
All right, is there anyone, do you all have anything else? Okay, does the board have anything else? Okay, all right. Seeing that there's no other business, our next meeting will be Tuesday. And that will be a regular board meeting that I understand will be swearing in a new board member.
What time?
We haven't
And that meeting
verified,
will-
we haven't verified
No,
that
it's
yet.
not verified, but we may be if she's back and able to get here. And that meeting will be at 10 a.m. right here. Pack a cooler and we'll see you.
No, don't pack a cooler because we're not gonna be here that long.
All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your interest and attendance. Appreciate it.
What, the 20th?
This-
About the 20th.
What is that?
20th?
No, the 19th, Tuesday.